In the earlier videos, we saw that how Britishers crushed their competitors, that is, the competitors like Portuguese, Dutch, French, etc., and how they took the stronghold in India. So, till now, the British company was the trading company, but sooner they realized that just being a trading company won't help to get the windfall profit they wanted, so they thought of the getting the ruling right. So, in 1757 AD, after the Battle of Plassey, they got the ruling right in Bengal. Okay, so this battle was fought between the Nawab of Bengal, Sirajud-Dowla, and East India Company. Okay, in which Nawab of Bengal, Sirajud-Dowla, was defeated. And why all this battle happened? Let's see. So, during those time, Bengal was important and developed province of India, and the English had received the trading permission in 77 AD itself, but they wanted to have the ruling rights. So, because of this trading charter, there were differences between the Nawab and the East India Company. So, the War of the Plassey took place. And now the former Nawabs of Bengal, that is Murshid Quli Khan and the Ali Vardi Khan, had also opposed the working style of the company. So after Ali Vardi Khan, the Surajit-Dowla became the Nawab of the Bengal, who was the adopted son of Ali Vardi Khan. And he told the company to trade on his own terms and conditions. So Surajit-Dowla wanted the company to trade on his terms, but the conditions had changed and the Britishers refused to do so. So this made the Nawab angry. Also, the Nawab was angry because of the fortification of Fort Williams that Britishers made. So, because of this infuriation, what Nawab, that is Sirajud-Dowla, did was he captured the British factory at Qasim Bazar and he established his control over Kolkata. And in order to do so, what Nawab did was, as the story is framed, that is a story of black hole. It is said that black hole means a dark room that was there in the Fort William, and over there Nawab kept the British army as prisoner of war and he tortured them. So the Britishers went to the Madras and they espied the officers about the situation and they shout help from them. So after the company official hedged a conspiracy against the Nawab, that is, they made the conspiracy against the Nawab, they also bribed and bought their trusted commander-in-chief and the Nawab army. So what Britishers did was they conspired against the Nawab and they even bribed their trusted commander-in-chief and the Nawab's army and also the leading businessmen of that time, and the name were Manek Chand, Ami Chand, Jagat Seth and Khadim Khan. So after buying those people against the Nawab, the Admiral Watson and Colonel Clive, they reached the Bengal with their naval force from Madras and they defeated the Nawab and they forced him to sign a treaty in 1757 AD. And because of this treaty, the Britishers became British East India Company became the ruling company from the trading company. And as the English had promised Mir Zafar, that is a traitor of the Nawab of Bengal, who fought against the Nawab, he got the throne as promised. So this famous battle that took place 20 miles from Murshidabad on the plains of Plassey in 23rd June 1757. So as this war was fought on the plains of Plassey, that is a name, Plassey is a name of a place. So the name of the war, the war was named as Battle of Plassey and it was fought on 23rd June 1757. And this war is associated with the establishment of English rule in India. Okay. Now the Nawab was, that is the Sirajud-Dowla, was defeated because the traitor like Mir Zafar and Rai Durlab, because there were traitor in his own house, the Britishers were able to defeat Sirajud-Dowla very easily. Okay. So after signing the treaty, the Nawab was assassinated, means the Nawab was killed. And according to Naveen Chand Sen, it is said that from now on India got entrapped in the interminable dark night of sadness. So after that, English became more and more stronger in India, and they started getting other rights as well. So as they made the Mir Zafar the Nawab of the Bengal, he fulfilled all their demands. So whatever the British wanted to do, the Mir Zafar used to do, because he was the nominal head of the Bengal. But the Battle of Plassey had an immense significance in the history of India, and it ensured British dominance in Bengal and later on all over the India. So why Battle of Plassey is considered to be the more immense, why Battle of Plassey have the immense significance in our history, because after this war only, British dominated the Bengal, and later on they even dominated all over the India. Okay. So now English trading company started making claims over the Indian Empire, because they were now the ruling company. So they were making claims on the Indian Empire. And then also, because of this, the economic condition of the company improved, because they collected huge revenue in the Bengal, and also they defeated the French at that time. So they were able to trade freely in Bengal, Bihar and Orissa. And also they gathered immense money because of this trading, and also the revenue collection by looting the people of Bengal, and all this money was sent back to Britain. So whatever they used to collect, they used to send back to Britain. Okay. Then after Mir Zafar, he handed the rule of Bengal to his son-in-law, that is Mir Qasim, in 1760. Now Mir Qasim was a very capable and a powerful ruler, and he also tried to build a modern army of his own and to root out the corruption. And he also tried to keep East India Company under check. He wanted the East India Company under his rule, but the Britishers were bullying all those his tactics, and they were collected huge money by abusing their power. So all this was noticed by Mir Qasim, and he was angry with this fact, and this resulted in the battle between the two. So now the next battle, that is Battle of Buxar, was fought between the Mir Qasim and the British East India Company. Okay, so Mir Qasim was defeated in this battle, that is in 1763 AD, and he fled to Awadh. So after he entered into a treaty with the Nawab of Awadh, Shujā-ud-Dawla, and the Mughal Emperor Shah Alam. So what Mir Qasim did was, after he was defeated in the war, he went to the Awadh, and he entered into a treaty with the Nawab of Awadh, that is Shujā-ud-Dawla, and the Mughal Emperor Shah Alam. And they combined their army and they decided to wage a war against the English forces. So the Battle of Buxar was fought on 22nd October 1764, and this battle could be termed as the most important battle in the history of India. Why? Because in this battle, the combined army of the three were defeated by the English, and the English truly became the most powerful force in India. Also, this battle turned out to be the conclusive affair for the English, as it symbolized the superiority of the English army. Okay. And as a result of this battle, the English became the real rulers of the Bengal, Bihar and Orissa. So after defeating the army of all those three, they became the real rulers of the Bengal, Bihar and Orissa. So after this war, Clive became the governor of the Bengal, and after that, Britishers once again made Mir Zafar the Nawab of the Bengal, and later on Nizam-ud-Dawla was made the Nawab. And finally in 1765 AD, the Nawab signed a treaty whereby he dissolved his army, and thus English became the real rulers of the Bengal. So after the war, the Britishers made the Mir Zafar once again the Bengal of the Nawab, and after Mir Zafar they made Nizam-ud-Dawla as their Nawab. But in 1765 they signed a treaty with the Nawab where the Nawab has to dissolve their army, and thus the Britishers became the real ruler of the Bengal. Okay. Now as the Britishers became the real rulers of Bengal, so the political and military control were in their hands, and now also the Nawab was dependent on the British East India Company. Also the company received the Diwani rights, that is the financial rights, and started collecting revenue. And they also had the right to appoint deputy subedar, and so they controlled both justice and the political system. So you can see that the power of control was in the hand of the British East India Company, while the Nawabs were there to administrate for the administration. The responsibility of the administration was on the head of the Nawab, and the ruling power was in the hand of the Britishers. So the historians term this structure as dual administrative structure in Bengal. Why this is called as dual administrative structure? Because the power was under the control of the company, whereas the responsibility of administration was on the Nawab. And this was a very difficult situation for the general people of Bengal, because neither the company and nor the Nawab were doing anything for them. And also the officials of company used to harass the common people. So the dual administrative structure resulted in heavy exploitation of the people of the Bengal, and this led to widespread poverty and disorder in Bengal, which led to many major and many minor famine in Bengal. Okay. Then establishment of British superiority during the times of Hastings, that is from 1813 to 1822, how the British superiority was established. Okay, let's have a look. So during the times of Warren Hastings, Cornwallis, Wellesley, the East India Company defeated the Maratha, Tipu Sultan of Mysore and the Mughal rulers. So we saw in the second chapter how the Marathas, Tipu Sultan of Mysore and the Mughal rulers were defeated, and thus company was able to expand his rule in India. Hajibali, that is, expand his rule in India. So we know that Tipu Sultan's rule was ended in 1799 AD after the fourth Anglo-Mysore war. Okay, and thus Delhi was taken under the control, and also Marathas accepted their defeat. But during those times, Marathas were only the power who could face the Britishers. So Marathas tried to recapture their glory, and during the time of that Hastings in 1817 AD. But the Maratha was divided into four parts by then, and they formed a combined front and launched a battle against the British. So as Maratha was divided into four parts, they combined again and they launched a battle against the British. So the Peshwa in Pune and the Appa Sahib and the Madhavrao Holkar in Nagpur started the battle against the British. So Hastings put entire army in this battle and defeated the army of Peshwa, Bhosle and Holkar. So the Hastings defeated the army of three Marathas, that is Peshwa, Bhosle and Holkar. Okay. So the Peshwa was removed from the throne and was sent to the state of Bitur near Kanpur, and Mumbai presidency was created. So after they were defeated, the Peshwa was removed from the throne and he was sent to Bitur near Kanpur, and soon the Britishers created the Mumbai presidency. Also Bhosle and Holkar too accepted the surrender treaty. So in this way, by 1880 AD, except the Punjab and the Sindh, most parts of the India came under the control of the British, and British supremacy was established. And it was the reason that the British historian P.E. Roberts considered this time to be the beginning of the modern age in India. Okay. So because of the hold of the Britishers during this time period, that is 1813 to 1822, the historian P.E. Roberts considered this time to be the beginning of the modern age in India. Okay. Then comes the victory over Sindh. So Britishers conquered India pretty swiftly in the period of 1818 to 1857. And in this campaign, the victory over Sindh was the important one. So we know that from 1818 to 1857, the Britishers won many parts of the India very swiftly, and in this campaign, the victory over Sindh was the important one. So the fear of Russia prompted the British to conquer Sindh. So why they were prompted to conquer the Sindh? Because the Britishers had the fear of Russia. We know that Sindh is a part in the North India. So and even we know that if you know the map of Asia, so Russia is in the North Asia. Okay. So Britishers had the fear of Russia. So it was important for them to prevent Russians from entering India via Afghanistan and Sindh. So Britishers knew that if Russia wanted to come to India, they would come from Afghanistan and Sindh. So Sindh was the important factor they wanted to have under their control. So the river Sindhu was also an important factor of its significance to trade. Also we know that major trade was happening because of the river Sindhu, that is by the river Sindhu. So through a treaty in 1832 ED, the armies of Sindh opened the trade routes of Sindh for the Britishers. So the treaty was signed in 1832 and the armies of Sindh allowed the Britishers to trade in their region. So and then there was a second treaty too in 1839 AD, but finally it was Charles Napier who attacked Sindh and annexed it into the British Empire in 1843 AD. So there were two treaties signed between the armies of Sindh, but finally in 1843 AD, Charles Napier attacked the Sindh and annexed into the British Empire. That is, they made it a British Empire. So Sindh was also under the British Empire by 1843 AD. Okay. Then we have Dalhousie and Khalsa policy. So since the very beginning of the term as the Governor General of India, Dalhousie made all efforts to impose British rule all over the India. So Dalhousie was made the Governor General of India in 1848, and since the start he made each and every effort so that the British rule can be established all over India. And he had said that the end of the native rulers of India will come in little time. And what did he say? That the native rulers of India would be over in the near time. So the Dalhousie adopted a bizarre policy, and what was his policy known as Khalsa policy. And according Khalsa policy. And according to this policy, if the ruler of any state died without leaving any heir to the throne, that state would be annexed to the British Empire. So what this Khalsa policy said, that if the native ruler died and if he do not have any heir, that is waris, koi nahi hoga, then that state would be under the British Empire. And so by this policy, the Britishers annexed the state of Satra in 1848, Nagpur in 1854 and Jhansi in 1854 to the British Empire. He also refused to recognize the former rulers of different states in India and also refused to pay any pension to them. So after this treaty was made, if any state lost their rights or they lost their empire, the Britishers refused to recognize any ruler and they even refused to pay any pension to them. So by this, they snatched the titles of rulers of Karnataka, Surat and Tanjore. And he refused to give pension to Nana Sahib, who was a son of former Peshwa Bajirao too. And they also refused to give any pension to Nana Sahib, who was a former son of Peshwa Bajirao too. Okay, sorry, the son of former Peshwa. And then Awadh was also annexed into the British Empire on the pretext of administrative disorder prevailing over there. But how Awadh was annexed? The Britishers told that there was administrative disorder, means the Nawab of Awadh could not administer properly, and so they annexed the Awadh into their empire, and in this way the British rule was established in most part of India. Okay, so we complete our chapter over here. In this chapter we saw what were the reasons for the Europeans to arrive in India, which Europeans came to India, and how Britishers gained their strong foothold and power in India. Okay.